Ethan Hawke ends up being like from the future, and he has this boss who's like, "Oh, you gotta give me that baby," but he doesn't give him the baby. He steals the baby, and he goes back. He goes back in time and like puts it in an orphanage or something. So he's like, "No, you're safer in this orphanage, right?" He falls in love with this
person who stole the baby.
Ethan Hawke, but it's Ethan Hawke's baby with the transgender person. So they like fall in love or whatever. He like breaks up with her, leaves her, breaks her heart because he's from the future. She doesn't know this. Right. Twist at the end of the movie, Ethan Hawke is the transgendered man from the future. They're in an infinite time loop where they get together, make themselves, and then that baby grows up, and it's just an infinite time loop. Blew my mind, but not worth 90 minutes. So I think it's kind of the same thing with the moon. Because they asked the question, how did he get there in the first place? If he just keeps creating himself, he never had any parents.
It blew my mind, and it took you 2 minutes to get that plot.
So anybody who's tuning in, this is Hooligan Radio. You may hear an extra voice. Our buddy Brad is here.
What's up?
Guest starring today.
So I guess we're talking about movies. You have movies to talk about that I'm going to have to work.
Yeah, so basically, I just want to go through... I saw Deadpool 2 last weekend. It was funny. I think everyone expected it to be funny. Did everyone here see it?
I have.
Yes.
Okay, so we actually all saw it. Okay.
Wow, for the first time.
And of course, it's the movie I have nothing really to say about either. I thought it was fun. It was funny. It's exactly what I thought it would be. So instead of talking about that movie, I figured I would just kind of go through the summer. We can briefly talk about what we're looking forward to, anything like that. I knew a few movies that were coming out, but I really didn't know many. And looking today, it looks like a pretty front-loaded summer. It looks like there's a lot going on in the next few weeks, and then it kind of dies down. So I'm not going to talk about every single movie or even every big movie because that would take way too long. But I just want to bring up a few. So first, this weekend, it would have already come out by the time this goes up, but Solo comes out this weekend. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I think it looks fun. Donald Glover's in it, so he has to be
I'm
good.
going to see it.
So that's why I'm seeing it.
Yeah, pretty much 100% the reason.
I don't know another actor in it, to be honest with you.
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca, the actor. He was at the Cavs game the other day.
So have you guys kept up with the Star Wars movies and the newer ones that have been coming out? And what do you guys think of that?
I watched the first one of the new trilogy, and then I was like, yeah, I'm going to see the other ones, and then...
Never did.
Yeah. I haven't actually seen the second one, but I have seen Rogue One.
I've seen all of them up to date. The 8th one I was not. I thought it was a good movie, not a good Star Wars movie. Solo, I'm not that excited for because Han Solo isn't that exciting of a character as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but
I don't know. He might be, though.
Lando
I mean, he could,
is going to be the saving grace.
I feel like there's a lot of other characters they could go into with, like, the Star Wars story, like, theme. You have, like, Darth Vader, like, just wrecking people for... Boba Fett would be...
What a random... We're
I feel like they
go
need to do,
all
like,
the
a
way
dark
back for
side
this guy.
character.
You know who really needs it? Jar Jar.
Weren't they doing... Yes, but weren't they doing a Darth Maul movie at one point in time?
There's
Was
a lot
I
of
wrong with that,
fiction
Josh?
I feel like they just throw out ideas and they just wait to see what like people online say, and if people online are like, "Oh, that's a cool idea," then they might move forward with. Like even this last week, I've seen stories that they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a Lando movie," and then they come out and they're like, well, maybe not. We don't know. What do you guys think though about that? So they don't fucking know what's going on. But but yeah, I think it'll be interesting. We'll probably talk about this one a lot more than a lot of these, but I think they've gotten to the point with the stories where they're not yet comfortable with doing something completely off from everything else. Like, even Rogue One was still connected, to A New Hope. So I think in the coming years, after they finish this trilogy, when they start making Star Wars movies, because they're obviously here to stay now, outside of, from what we've seen, I think I'll be excited for that. But I'm sure I'll still see this, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have all the faith in Disney in the world, so.
Yeah, especially because, like, the better CGI gets, the better Star Wars will get, probably.
Yes,
so.
And then June 8th, a couple movies are coming out. So June 8th, Ocean's 8 comes out. So it's a sequel to the Ocean's trilogy, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. I think Ocean's 13, the last one, came out like 12 years ago, so it has been a while. Basically, it's a heist movie, only this time it's all female. So you have Sandra Bullock, Rihanna, Sarah Paulson, Anne Hathaway, Mindy Kaling is in there, and a few other people. I actually think it looks pretty good. I like movies of this genre, heist movies. I really liked Logan Lucky that came out last year, which has the same director, and I like the Ocean's movies. So I'll definitely be seeing this. Have you guys seen any of those movies?
I've seen the trailer for the Ocean 8 movie you said? Look, I mean, it looks okay. I'll probably see it.
I watched a couple of the last few Ocean movies when I was at work once. They're pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a big heist fan, but I don't know. I'll probably see Ocean's 8 because of work. Probably won't go out and see it on my own, considering I probably won't have time. But yeah, I'll probably watch it in passing at the drive-in.
I've never seen the Oceans. I'd like to. I'll probably go see this one just because it looks good. And
Yeah. To be honest, Ocean's 11, the first one, is much, much better than 12 or 13 in my opinion, so I would definitely check out that one. The other two, they're more the same, so they're still fun, but they're definitely not as good.
Wasn't Brad Pitt in one of these movies too?
He was in all of them.
All of
yeah.
them? Oh.
So like the first three, it was like George Clooney was the main guy, and then it was like Brad Pitt, Matt Damon were the big. I think Don Cheadle was in them. So it was a lot of big names, and that's what they tried to recreate with this one, but with all female names. So
it's almost like what they tried doing with Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. But I would recommend if you
probably better.
if you haven't seen Logan Lucky, it came out last year. That's a really good heist film. It has Channing Tatum, Adam Driver. That's a really fun.
Is that the NASCAR movie?
Yes,
that is a great movie.
Yeah, and that's the same director as this one.
Wow, that might actually be pretty good.
Yeah. Also, quickly, that day I do want to bring up a few movies that aren't big movies, but I'm looking forward to. There's a movie from a studio called A24 that makes really great independent movies. They're coming out with a film called Hereditary, which is a horror movie. Something about a child and an old woman, but
I actually saw this one. That one looks pretty good. I saw it as one of the trailers for Deadpool.
Yeah, and it you know, of course they could be playing it up for the trailer because that's their job, but they're putting these quotes in the trailers of like, you know, the best, the Exorcist of this generation.
Oh, yeah, they have to sell it.
Yeah, so who knows if that'll be the case.
Is there like a premise to it yet?
From what I can tell, it's basically something along the lines of they have a death in their family, and it's like a very dark movie, and they're trying to get over that grief, but there's some supernatural stuff going on. So some type of demon or ghost or something's haunting them during this time.
It looks like somewhat occult-like, almost like similar to Paranormal, where something with the grandma
yeah,
comes
because I
into
think the
play
grandma's
after
the
she
one that dies. Yeah, and it's like she was a part of something, you know,
and then it's
weird.
like starting to come back to the family.
Yeah. So then...
Now my grandkid can only go...
So then just 1 week after that, we have Incredibles 2, one of my most anticipated movies for the year.
It's gonna be
great.
Literally incredible.
It's not the first Incredibles isn't my favorite Pixar movie. Monsters, Inc. is my favorite.
You're wrong.
But it's up there. So I'm really excited for it. The trailer looked great from what I saw.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I hope that there's another line like...
Honey, where's my super suit?
Yeah, exactly. They have to pull off something like that. At least one liner.
They've had, what?
13, 15, I don't know.
Yeah.
Plan another great one-liner.
Didn't they already have one of those jokes in the trailer?
Probably.
Well, his wife is like, where are you going ASAP? You better be back ASAP. It's pretty funny. And then that same day, it's probably going to get buried by Incredibles 2, but I did want to mention a funny movie that called Tag is coming out, if you've seen the trailers.
Yeah.
So it's Jeremy Renner at helm's 4 friends, based off a true story, all play tag every May, every year. That looks pretty funny.
That's what he's doing outside of Infinity. Just playing tag with everybody.
But that comes out the same day as Incredibles 2. Probably a different market, but I think Incredibles 2 is just going to completely clean up that weekend. Especially because the next week... the 22nd of June is Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom. So, regardless of the quality of Jurassic World 2, it's going to make all of the money.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have Chris Pratt, who's a powerhouse at this point in Hollywood. You have the Jurassic World name to it. The first one broke like all of the records when it came out.
It's like in the top 5 grossing movies of all time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at that time globally it had the biggest open. So I'm sure this one will be up there too. But are you guys going to be seeing Jurassic World, do you think?
Yeah.
I think I would have to see the first one first.
You haven't seen Jurassic World?
I have not.
Wow.
That's another one of those movies where it's like, the better the CGI gets, the better the movies are.
Yeah.
So like, I'll probably see it in passing again at the drive-in, which is always the worst because I get to see like 70% of the movie, so the storyline doesn't really make full sense.
It's not going to need to make full... I mean, it's dinosaurs.
Yeah. Basically, if Blue dies in the movie, I'll just be heartbroken. So I'm not ready.
I just imagine you walking by and like filling the words in between while you can't hear it.
It's like, oh no.
But yeah, I'm sure that'll be a Jurassic World movie. I mean, come on, can you really go wrong?
Yeah, I don't know yet.
And then also that same day, this is a limited release, also from A24, a movie called Under the Silver Lake. So this stars Andrew Garfield, and it's from the director who made It Follows, if you saw that movie.
Oh my god.
So it's basically, from the trailer, it's basically Andrew Garfield is somebody who lives in L.A., and is trying to figure out, there's like some crimes going on, something along those lines. He's trying to go undercover basically and try to figure it out. I saw the trailer for the movie on Twitter. Looked really, really awesome. I don't know if it's going to be any theaters around us, because besides Crocker Park, there really aren't a ton of theaters that show a lot of independent films, but I would definitely try to catch that if you can. And then the week right after that, there's a few releases, but the only one I wanted to mention was Uncle Drew, starring Kyrie Irving, Shaquille O'Neal, Reggie Miller. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Like, how is this a thing that got made?
And I'm probably going to see it and fall trap to it.
Yeah, this is so the worst part is like, okay, so we're from Cleveland, as you probably know, and everybody's like, yeah, Kyrie sucks, he went to Boston, and I'm just like, but that Uncle Drew shit is so funny.
And now you bring it to the big screen, like, of course we're going to go see it.
But then the best part is, like, if it does really...
Shaq is gonna be.
No, the problem is if it does really well, like, they can't make a second one, everybody's going to be looking for it. Like, who's this old guy on the court? Get out of here.
Let's go to different countries.
I mean, I think because it is smushed between all these huge blockbusters, I don't think it'll make a ton of money. I think it'll make enough to make a profit. But I was in the theater watching Deadpool, and this played beforehand, and people were laughing, during the trailer. I was like, oh, that's funny, that's funny. And then the trailer ends, and just one guy in my theater just goes, man, anybody but Kyrie. So I think that's what Cleveland kind of thinks about the movie. So then the next big release, it's actually a Wednesday, 4th of July. Coming out on 4th of July yet again is The First Purge. So the last movie, Purge 3, came out a couple years ago.
I'm so excited.
So if you saw The Purge 3, Purge Election Day, at the end of the movie, they pass a law or whatever, and they cancel The Purge. So now this is a prequel taking you back to the first Purge. I mean, at this point, we know what we're getting at this point. You want to go see a bunch of crazy people kill people,
Yes.
That's what it is.
But it looks like this one dives into a little... This is a spoiler alert for... If you haven't seen it... Yeah, you should have seen it.
Yeah.
But it looks like they dive into a little bit, like... right off the back into, like, the government actually, like, starting to participate in the purge and, like, starting to actually, like, go into these poor neighborhoods and kill people and, like, take down the population size a little bit. Which they didn't even touch that till the second movie, like, halfway through, when you're like, oh, look at this twist.
Yeah.
Wasn't even a concept in the first movie.
Yeah, I mean, in the first movie, my problem with the first movie was you didn't even really get to experience the purge. You were just inside Ethan Hawke's house.
Yeah. And
then in the second movie is when it took you outside into the world, and I think that's why I like the second movie the best out of the three. The third one, I just wasn't a fan of personally. It was very...
They tried a little too hard on the second one. But the first one I actually liked because I felt like they made you like feel how scary it was to go outside during the purge time by keeping it in the house. Because you're like, I really can't go outside because there's other people out there that aren't even trying to kill me that will probably kill me.
Yeah. So then 2 days later, July 6th, is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Marvel's last release for 2018. So this is going to be apparently what Ant-Man was doing during Infinity War. Infinity War's been out for about a month now, so I think we can spoil it. I think everyone that wanted to see it has seen it. Right. Have you seen it, Zach?
I've seen it a couple times.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So obviously, like, half the universe is dead at the end of the movie. So this clearly couldn't have taken place after that. No. So this takes place during, I'm assuming they're going to be in the multiverse while it's going on. And I'm crossing my fingers that maybe when they come out, if not the end of the movie, the after credits, maybe they come out and the Wasp disappears. That's my big risky prediction.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, and then that brings Ant-Man, gives them a perfect reason to join up with the survivors for the next Avengers movie.
So is Ant-Man the last movie before the next Avengers movie?
There's Captain Marvel. But that takes place in the 90s, so that's not associated.
It'll probably have an end credits scene of her receiving Nick Fury's like text.
Because they called out to her at the end of Avengers. So, and that's it, I think, right? Just Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel...
Comes out in May next year?
I think Captain Marvel comes out in, like, March. So that's, like, really close. Yeah. I mean, Captain Marvel will probably still be in theaters when Avengers comes out.
Yeah, it'll be how Black Panther was with Infinity War.
So does it go straight from Ant-Man and the Wasp to Captain Marvel to the next
Avengers.
Infinity Wars?
Yes,
wow.
which is
so
next
year.
Not
two between.
Though.
Well, I mean, like in between. From here till the next Avenger.
And then another interesting thing that I just wanted to point out really quick. Pretty sure Spider-Man comes out next year as well, right? And that comes out like 2 months after Infinity War.
Yeah, it's going to be the July movie.
Yeah, I know that everyone knows Spider-Man's going to come back. I mean, because he's... But still, like, how are they going to market the Spider-Man movie?
It's going to be weird.
Like, are they just going to, like, want you to accept, like, okay, you know he's coming back. Don't worry about it.
That's the weird thing, though, because, like, the directors have said, like, accept the fact that these characters are dead and, like, grieve and everything. But it's like, no, they're not. Like,
yeah, they're coming back.
Where's Black
already...
Panther 2? Is that...
That's way...
not...
I don't even think it's
that
slated.
Hasn't even been,
yeah.
It's just, like, a working title.
So, I think Spider-Man... It would be very bold of them, but at the end of the day, I know it's Sony, but at the end of the day, since Marvel's helping them out and it's in the MCU, they're going to make a ton of money anyway. I think they could afford to not release any huge trailers with Spider-Man until afterwards, but still, that's only 2 months. That's...
You could tease Mysterio for 2 months and people would be hyped about it.
Exactly.
Rey Mysterio?
Isn't?
With Jake, I thought it was about him when I saw it.
That's the first thing I thought too.
I'm like, what do you fucking do?
And I was like, oh, like, Spider-Man.
Isn't there... When's the Venom movie coming out?
That's I think September, October, I think.
Okay.
So it's like right after the summer.
That's standalone, right? That's not MCU.
I'm not excited
No,
for it.
it's not. It's a Sony movie.
I'm still somewhat excited for it.
Is Carnage in it?
I don't
It's
think
I'm
so.
probably not gonna see it.
I don't
There's
know
no
how
Carnage. I'm
official
not
it is,
gonna
but
see it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
it's just
I like
Venom
Hardy
can't
as the
exist without
actor.
Spider-Man. There's
true.
a spider on
That's
his
true.
costume.
All right. I want to speed it up a little bit because we've gotten way off topic, and I don't want to take forever. But what do you guys think about? We got way off topic. What do you think about Ant-Man, though? Are you excited for Ant-Man and the
I'm very
Wasp?
excited.
I'm not.
You guys hate Ant-Man, right?
I don't like Ant-Man whatsoever.
I don't know what it is. I think it's the actor. I don't know who that it is, but I'm just not. I saw most of the first Ant-Man and was like, okay, that's cool.
I even like the actor. I just don't like Ant-Man.
I love Paul Rudd.
So-
I love the first Ant-Man, and I'm excited to have more of an explanation of like the aftermath of the snap.
And I think the biggest thing with the first Ant-Man is they were still playing it safe a little bit. I think now that Ant-Man made money and it's accepted and it's not too weird, I think they're going to go all out with this one with the Ant-Man weird shit. So you can already see in the trailers.
Giant man.
Yeah, with them making giant Pez dispensers and giant salt shakers. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. So then moving on, just the week after that, there's a few movies coming out. There's one with The Rock where he's like climbing a skyscraper. I don't know. And he has one leg. But
pretty much every Rock.
Yeah. But the one I'm looking forward to is actually a limited release. It's called 8th Grade and it's directed by Bo Burnham. So I'm really excited, obviously just for that reason. I mean, Bo Burnham is one of my favorite humans on the earth, so so I'm obviously going to see it. I'll travel to see that movie, even if it's not playing near us. So if that's playing near anybody, I would recommend seeing that one.
Yeah, do you think that Donald Glover plays the 8th grade girl? Or...
Maybe. So then, July 27th, Teen Titans Go to the Movies comes out, which we talked about last week. But also that same day, Mission Impossible Fallout comes out, which I think is the 6th one.
I can't count that many. I honestly can't believe they're making this one.
How can they have so many impossible missions?
I've never seen any of the Mission Impossible movies, because obviously it started a little before my time. So half of me, just because, wants to binge the entire series and then go see this, but then the other half of me just wants to say no and not watch it at all. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Mission Impossible, but I know that all the trailers look like everything is really dramatic, and I think that I would be overwhelmed the whole time.
There's always that one scene at the end of the trailer where the music gets really like loud, dramatic, and just something absolutely fucking ridiculous.
But he doesn't he can't die.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I'm kind of with Josh, where it's like I would want to binge watch all of them than go see it, but there are so many other franchises I'd rather binge watch and then go see the new movie that.
Brad would probably just rewatch How I Met Your Mother instead.
There's one episode where they reference Ghost Protocol, so
there we go.
When was the last time you were like, I really need to go watch Mission Impossible right now?
not
Never, because we've seen
Exactly.
But one thing I will say about it is they had to have spent a ton of marketing on this movie, because I swear every single movie I've seen this year, regardless of the genre, that Mission Impossible trailer has played beforehand with Henry Cavill on his mustache. And it's all I've seen before. Every movie, comedy, action, horror, doesn't matter. They play the Mission Impossible trailer before, which leads me to believe that they just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this movie.
We'll make it all back.
Please see it.
Okay, so then that's it for the most part. Then we get to August, and August kind of drops off. There's only a few movies. So August 3rd, Disney's Christopher Robin, the live-action tale of Winnie the Pooh with Ewan McGregor playing Christopher Robin as an adult. Who fuck knows what that's gonna be?
Dude, I don't know.
I mean, I saw the trailer for that, and I was like, "What the hell?"
The General Kenobi memes for that trailer were perfect. With Winnie the Pooh whipping out 4 lightsabers.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, Winnie the Pooh in that trailer looked fucking ragged. And, like, how dark are they getting with this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm imagining Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin just has, like, a heroin addiction. His life's just, like, gone to
Talking
shit.
with his stuffed animal.
This is a documentary.
Yeah, who knows?
Just so passers-by, just like, that crazy guy screaming at a stuffed bear.
There's crazy Christopher Robin. The end of the movie, he's actually, like, he gets arrested, taken to a psych ward, he escaped. So, again, have all the faith in the world in Disney. So then the next week, this movie called The Meg comes out. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for
What
this.
is it called?
It's called The Meg. It's basically Jason Statham just fighting a giant shark, and that's the movie.
That's amazing.
That's the movie, basically. Dwight from The Office is in it, playing a snarky scientist who makes quips, and it looks like a sci-fi movie that got a bigger budget, and they hired Jason Statham.
It's something you'd watch on Netflix.
Yeah,
Nice.
so that's coming out, and then for some reason shark movies just always do well, so I expect this to be the big movie of August.
Hell, what Sharknado movie are we on now?
I think
5.
5th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put a shark in it, you'll get it.
it's basically that, just with a bigger budget.
A real budget.
So the last movie I wanted to mention, I know nothing about this, I just saw it on the list. August 24th, Slender Man is coming out. Just a movie called Slender Man. So first of all, Zach, you were the first one to tell me about Slender Man when it was like 2011, and there have been movies made about it, but none of them that I can recall were ever called.
Watching?
Oh, where it originally started on YouTube, Marble Hornets.
Yeah, because it's never been called like Slender Man. It's always been called something else.
Yeah.
So I think this is officially the Hollywood cash grab of hey,
Yeah.
let's try to make some money out of Slender Man while a few people still remember who he is.
It's so past its time, it feels like.
Did they say who was trying to make this one?
No, that's all. I don't have any info on the movie now.
I think from what I've seen, I think it's POV.
They came out with one. I think it was last September.
What was the one that we watched?
It was
Wasn't it like Always Watching or something?
yeah. It was
Slender... based on Marble Hornets.
Yeah, it was pretty much. It was Slender Man essentially with a different name that tried to pretty much sell the Slender Man story, but
I assume
it wasn't very good.
It was It was. There were some jump scares.
Yeah, out of all the Slender Man type movies I've seen, the only real people that did it well, I thought, was Marble Hornets, where it all started.
Shout out to just Marble Hornets.
Exactly. You guys did it perfectly, but
scared the hell out of us.
Wasn't it like 700 hours long though?
at least.
I don't know. We only get halfway through and then something happens.
I still remember freshman year in college, all watching it in the common room till 3 a.m, pitch black.
So yeah, so that's basically it for the summer. So as you can tell, we start off big with a lot of the big, we got Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, all these things coming out, and then it kind of just fades out, and we're left with Slender Man at the end of the summer. So
Nice.
I'll probably see it.
So that's really it. So I mean, yeah, if you guys had to pick a number, just off the top of your head, how many of these movies? This not for you, Isaiah, because you have to see them.
Yeah, you
But
can see them all.
how many movies do you think you would go out of your way to watch?
At least 5.
I'd probably say 4.
I'm gonna say a solid 2, 1 being Incredibles, 2 being Solo.
You gotta at least see one movie a month.
Yeah.
Nope.
Again, you see them all.
I think I've seen, on average, I've seen 1 movie a year for my whole life. Which doesn't calculate to being able to see all of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like you had to start when you were 3 or something.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, I'll probably see 7 or 8 of them, but that's just because I'm seeing some of those smaller movies I want to seek out. Blockbuster-wise, I'm seeing Jurassic World, I'll see Solo, Incredibles, and then after that, it's really not Ant-Man, and then after that...
I'll probably see Ocean's 8.
Yeah, so not that crazy of a summer, but I think next year, with Avengers and Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, it's going to get pretty crazy again.
Yeah.
So that's the summer rundown.
When this comes out, we'll be, what week will that be? I don't know. First week of June, last week of May. So we'll be 1 to 2 weeks off of E3, which is basically Isaiah's Christmas. So starting off, I'm going to say easily biggest E3 presence, even though they don't even really show up as a conference. Nintendo's going to blow everyone out of the water this year. They've already teased a new Smash Bros. So they're going to move 1 million units this year easily. probably going to get a teaser for Pokemon during their Direct. You're going to get to see the new Star Fox game that's going to be coming out. I think there's a new Kirby title.
Wow.
Metroid got their name finally. I think that's going to come out early next year. Really, I think the only other thing what could possibly happen is I think that at the Sony press conference, we might start to get the initial look at what's going to be the next iteration in the console cycle for them. It's a hard maybe, but I know that they're saying that they're finally rounding out the life cycle for the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. If it's not them, then Xbox will show that they're going to. It's been 5 years since it's come out.
5 years? Okay.
Yeah, so that's half the life cycle of what the consoles before were. Because the 360 and the PS3 were 10 years before we got our next iteration.
Yeah, I was about to say, this one seems a little bit quicker than previous years.
But still, 5 years is a good amount of time.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Comparative to what? You get a new console from Nintendo every 2 years.
And you have to think they make these special edition consoles such as like the PS Pro and like what was the new one that came out with the Xbox just last year?
Xbox One X.
Yeah, the One X.
Yeah, so I know that Sony said that they're going to have 4 big previews. You'll probably get to see Kingdom Hearts, if that's a thing that you guys are into. Kingdom Hearts 3 is like borderline complete, probably end of the year release date, I'm hoping. Early next year.
And is that going to be, so that's a Switch release?
Kingdom Hearts 3?
Or is that PlayStation?
I think that's going to be...
That should be all consoles.
All of them?
I don't know.
Because I know it was on PlayStation 2 back in the day.
Because it used to be a PlayStation exclusive.
It used to be. I think that it might release... I don't think it's going to release Switch day one. I'm going to be honest. It might come to Switch. I don't know how hard it would port the game. I mean, they've been working on it for 15 years, so if they were going to port it to Switch, they probably would have needed to start 5 years ago. But I know that we might get, not in the Nintendo press conference, but might get news about Fortnite coming to the Switch, which is a whole nother market for them. I know I'd get Fortnite on my Switch. If it's going to be free to play, I mean, I might as well.
That's going to be crazy. That would be really cool.
What else? Bethesda has been pretty quiet recently, so expect them to try to blow your socks off with maybe an Elder Scrolls.
God, I hope so.
I don't think that it's time for Fallout yet. It's only been, 2 years?
Yeah.
It'll probably be another Skyrim remake.
I was about to say, the last Skyrim game was that Elder Scrolls Online, which didn't do that well.
Yeah, I think we might get news on the new Elder Scrolls game.
Mm-hmm.
Even news would be great. Like just any sort of update.
Last year was the year they released the remaster of Skyrim, right?
Yeah, and then Sony has come out and said that they're going to be showcasing Death Stranding with the guy from Walking Dead. Was that one guy?
Are you talking about the villain?
Guy with the crossbow.
Daryl.
Oh,
Daryl, yeah. Whatever his name is. He's like the main character
in the
Death
game.
Stranding.
Yeah, I think I saw something on that.
So Hideo said that he's going to that there'll be information about it at E3. Surprises, you probably get to see. There might even be a demo of Spyro on the floor, so you might get to see some actual gameplay from that. I'm thinking. Oh, we're probably going to get to see what Battlefield is working on for Battlefield 5. Rumors it's WW2. Also rumors that it could be Battle Royale. So WW2 Battle Royale would be insane. Insane. I don't even know what to do.
Do you think
How do you start that?
Do you think they'll do WW2 since Call of Duty literally their last game was WW2? Do you think they'll care?
Normally they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, they try to just one up the other.
Yeah.
Plus, the last Battlefield game I thought was the World War I one. Yeah.
So they'll probably do WW2 again.
So, I don't know a ton about E3. I've never actually watched the full broadcast except for the years where I was just hanging out with you guys and you had it on. Do you think that it will be Nintendo that wins this year at E3? Or?
Yeah, I think that Nintendo is definitely going to be the one that showcases the most content that people are going to want to get. Like I said, Sony's going to show 4 big games, and Nintendo has 6 or 8 big games that are probably going to come, or at least be shown. Like I said, I know that they're working on a Star Fox game, they're working on a Metroid game. All of these names that people have heard for years are getting their games.
Personally, I don't see Microsoft really going that far into competitiveness with everything else this year. I think honestly they might even think of this year as like a somewhat of a down year in a sense where they know they're not going to be able to compete with some of these other huge exclusives coming out. I would be utterly shocked if they didn't tease anything to do with Halo. They'll probably have to tease some of that just to get some attention to them.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Is there have there been rumors of new Halo games coming up? Or?
I haven't heard anything out of the Microsoft house, really. Though actually, I heard today on the way here that Microsoft commissioned an arcade game that is going to drop Halo at all Dave & Buster locations. There's going to be a Halo game at Dave & Buster's, which will be interesting.
Hopefully it fucking works.
Right? You're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Dave & Buster's to play that game.
Fucking go try to play a Batman game, doesn't fucking work.
Go to one of the gun games and the gun's missing. Just how does this happen?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing that's going on right now, though, is for the longest time, the 10 years of time, Xbox 360 was on top, literally. Like, people would say the PS3 was better, but it, like, which sold more consoles.
Yeah, 360
exactly.
all the way.
360 was better.
But now it's starting to seem like Nintendo is back at the crown with Sony, like, not too far behind, but after a release of Smash Bros. And possibly Pokemon, they're going to annihilate markets.
Yeah.
Like, so it'll be interesting to see Microsoft go from this juggernaut 5-10 years ago to being the little brother again.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree on the Microsoft thing. I have a PS4. I switched from 360 to PS4, and I only know maybe a couple people that have an Xbox One and not a PS4.
I was going to say, I think we're 4 for 4 in this room on PS4.
Yeah.
Even people I know who have Xbox Ones, like, will also have a PS4 because they understand the importance of it. So, like, I totally agree. I feel like they've fallen off completely. I don't know what could bring them back. Nintendo, I haven't gotten the Switch yet. I have the Wii U, but I haven't gotten the Switch yet. And when it came out, I was just waiting. I was like, I thought it was going to be Super Mario Odyssey, but that didn't bring me in enough to buy it. I kept thinking, like, okay, something's going to come out that's going to pull me in. And it's Smash Brothers. When I saw that first teaser for Smash, I was like, okay, that's it. When that comes out, I'll be getting the Switch. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You know, that's usually what does it. That's what got me the Wii U, basically.
Yeah.
When I got that. So how long? Because all of the things that you're naming for Nintendo, Star Fox, Kirby, Pokemon, like, how long can they keep just, like, living off of all these properties until it's, you know, until they have to do something new?
Well, that's the thing that's different about Nintendo is, like, their properties, when they release a game, it's basically releasing a level pack for them. So, like, people love Kirby because they know that I'm going to get to eat enemies, I'm going to get to use their powers, and I'm going to get to do this. So, like, you know what you're getting when you buy it. It's just a whole bunch of different levels and different puzzles that you could get into. So I think that they don't have to necessarily, but whenever you're not in a position of power, especially when you're the smallest dog at the table, you can't risk getting new IPs. You can't go out and be like, all right, we're going to put money into this new IP because that's what's going to bring people in. When they knew their moneymaker is Mario. You throw Mario on anything and people are going to at least look at it. I mean, I don't even know how many copies they sold of that Mario and Sonic Olympics game, but it probably only sold because Mario was a title on it. So it's interesting, like you said, Smash Brothers is a powerhouse for them. Like, whenever they say, like, at the beginning of the year, they always come up with sales goals, and you can know, like, based on the sales goals, like, what is going to come out. They put a lofty sales goal out there at the beginning of the year, and then drop that nasty teaser for Smash Bros. And now people are like, I should think about getting a Switch soon, because the closer you get to the Smash Bros. Release, Nintendo's not very good at keeping their consoles on the shelves.
And so do you think this will be a brand new Smash Brothers game? Because I did hear some people saying maybe it'll just be an updated version of the Wii U game. Do you think this will become a completely new installment?
I think this is going to be a completely new installment, just because the guy who makes all of the Smash Brothers games, I don't see him as somebody who does ports. Mm-hmm. So I've also heard that there are rumors, they're like low-key leaks, I guess, that Ice Climbers are going to make a return. They've been begging for Ridley from the Metroid series for years. People are thinking that person's going to be in there. And I just don't think that they're going to add all these new characters without making a new game.
Yeah.
But the Switch is such a powerful piece of hardware that, like, it would be so easy for them to be like, yeah, everybody get a Switch so you can all play Smash together. Instead of being like, one house needs a Wii U so that everybody in the house can play Smash. It would be more like, oh, look, both of the brothers have their Switches so they could play Smash. But yeah, I think that Nintendo's going to run away with E3 this year, and then they're going to be the juggernaut again. Yeah, Peter, if you're listening, your dog's finally made it back on top. I'm scared for everyone else because Microsoft might get crazy with what they might try to do.
I mean, I feel like even with the Xbox One, I don't know why they did this, but I remember when they were first announcing the new generation of consoles back then, you could almost kind of tell that Microsoft with the Xbox One was trying to get away from just being a gaming console and being more of like, oh, this is an all-in-one entertainment console. Mm-hmm. Almost like they knew they wouldn't be able to continue to compete in the gaming market. As to where PlayStation has plenty of entertainment stuff on there. It's a Blu-ray player, all those types of things. But, I feel like all the great titles I've heard about between the two over the past few years have either been PlayStation exclusives or shared on both platforms. So,
yeah, I mean, really, if you look at it, Microsoft's exclusives have fallen off recently. Nobody's a huge fan of the Halo series anymore, which was like a big selling point of theirs. Gears of War has fallen off, really. I mean, I bought an Xbox One to play Gears of War and Halo, and I sold mine after, I think I only owned it for 8 months. Mm-hmm. The game they're just not there. So I don't think that Microsoft is going anywhere, but I think when, like what you said, when they took their focus off of the games, they lost the gamers. So yeah, there's a lot of people who have Xbox Ones in their houses, but
play games on their PS4 and their Switch. Yeah.
It's because Xbox is like, oh, we're gonna be a entertainment console or whatever. Got trumped by smart TVs.
Yeah.
So like
and Apple TV and Amazon Fire
exactly.
Stick.
So they're competing with a whole different market if you're not going to focus solely on games. So I think that Microsoft is going to have to pull something at this E3 to even stay relevant. Okay, so I'm going to finish it out with a rundown of each one and what you should look out for. So on Saturday, EA is going to go. You're going to show you Anthem. It's new Destiny. Be ready to be wowed, but disappointed when the game comes out. Microsoft, they're going to have to pull something this year in order to stay relevant. I don't know what it'll be. It might be a new console announcement or teaser. Bethesda, like I said, probably an Elder Scrolls. I don't know. I think there's rumors they're working on a new IP, so we might be able to see that too. On Monday, we got Square Enix. They're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts. Ubisoft, they're probably going to talk about Assassin's Creed, and I'm not going to listen. The PC gaming show is always interesting. They never really show anything exclusive for PC. Sony, they're going to show a lot of pretty games, and they're not going to look nearly as pretty unless you have a PS Pro. Nintendo goes on Tuesday. You're going to see a lot of games and a lot of faces you recognize. And that's basically E3. In a nutshell, what I'm thinking is going to happen.
I just want Pokemon for the Switch.
I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
From what I've heard about it, I'm really excited.
It seems like it might be. I mean, with Pokemon, the rumors will fly. You could be like, it's going to be a Sims game, but with Pokemon, like, nobody knows.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. The rumors for the battle system, though, seem that they're going to take a lot from, like, Pokken Tournament.
Yeah.
That would be different, because that would change the entire competitive gameplay of Pokemon.
I think that Pokemon will not come out this year. I think that will be next year's major title to sell Switches.
I mean, I was going to ask you, Brad. I got the Pokemon Tournament game when I got my Wii U. I played it for like a month when I got it and haven't played it since, so I didn't get very far in the game, but it was a lot of fun. But what have Pokemon games been like recently? Like, are they still...
Did you...
Because that'd be my
Pokemon Tournament it's so different from your run-of-the-mill Pokemon games. Did you play X and Y?
No.
Have you played 3DS games? So basically what they've done is they've completely revamped the graphics. The 3DS games are in a totally... It's basically a different setting because everything is 3D now, so you don't have the little everything's more detailed. I feel like they put too much effort into like improving the overall like graphics and visuals of the game when they could have added new content, because a lot of the recent games have not had a lot of post game. It's pretty much you beat the Elite Four and then they throw in a bunch of legendaries, but that's it. There's no Battle Frontier, because I was a big kind of disappointment with the fans with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But there's so much. I feel like they've set the groundwork for these new games that now they're finally at a point where they can release just a bunch of new stuff, kind of like what Isaiah was saying, where it's just going to blow you away with what they can do on the Switch.
Yeah, because like I have a 3DS, but my girlfriend mostly plays it because she plays Animal Crossing, but I have a few games. But I see the Pokemon games on the arcade and stuff, but I just haven't bought them because I'm like, am I going to go play this game and have no fucking clue what's going on? You know what I mean?
Actually, Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun, I believe, is the sequel they made. They're very player-friendly in that they really hold your hand through the game until you get, like, midway through, and then it gets pretty tough. But the newer games have done a really good job of kind of reintroducing the concept for, like, younger generations. So if you were to go out and buy it, like, Sun and Moon is a good place to kind of get back into it because of the fact that it does a good job of kind of walking you through the early parts of the game. And Sun and Moon is also kind of cool in the fact that it's unique, that it goes away from the concept of, like, fighting 8 gyms. And you kind of do more, they're called trials, where you do tasks, more or less than just buff up your starter and just ran through gym leaders. So Sun and Moon's a good place to start. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are essentially the same game, but with like a variation of the later storyline with the legendary. So they're a good place to start. And X and Y too, even if you can find those, still good place to start.
Are those also on the 3DS?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. And I also have to ask you guys how to get started in Yu-Gi-Oh, but that'll be another day.
So now we're going to dive into the conspiracy theories of why the moon is hollow, or pretty much just fake. The moon you don't know up there is fake. Oh, dark rabbit holes. So remember during high school, middle school, learning all about the science of the moon, how like it controls the different tides, how it goes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Everything you know is a lie. It's all fake.
I think.
So pretty much self-explanatory theory, moon is hollow, not real.
Yeah, so that's why they faked the moon landing.
Exactly.
Why do?
That's why when they landed on the moon, it rang like a bell because it was hollow inside.
I mean, I think us faking
so it's like a prop.
Yes.
Well, one of the theories that I thought was really cool was that it's a spaceship.
Yes.
Because the craters on the moon don't look like how craters would look if you got hit with an asteroid. So therefore, the moon is a spaceship made by either aliens or our government.
And did you see how that little tiny detail went 100 times faster at the end of that sentence?
Yeah, it's usually how they go, yeah.
It's also believed that the moon itself is just a spaceship. Or like, I'm drawing a blank on the movie right now, but pretty much it's just a huge spaceship that ships can come into through other galaxies to pretty much it's a rest stop in the entire universe to come fill up your car, spaceship, leave. And then there's also some theories that an alien, because supposedly there's been recorded text throughout history that references a time where there's been no moon. That just one random day the moon decided to show up and it was here. Which I want to see the text first of when the moon showed up.
Yeah, where is the...
Of just screaming into the sky.
Yeah, you're just like, yo, what's that?
Yeah. Like, that wasn't there 5 hours ago.
Yo. No, I think it's crazy because, like, the moon, dude, like, that's such a large, if it's a ship, that's a big ship.
Yes.
And what are they doing?
Well, there's some other theories that the moon can be viewed as almost one of these generational ships. Because when you think about traveling across the universe, like light years away, it's not like how a lot of people view it, where it's like a couple hours, couple days. Like it can take 4 years to get to like the next inhabitable planet, traveling at the speed of light. Mm-hmm. So a lot of space travels can also be viewed as, and I can't remember the movie either. Josh will probably, once you hear it, just say the name. Where they have these generational ships, where in some movies they like freeze people, and like have them on the ship transporting themselves to that other planet because they know it's going to take several years to get there. Chris Pratt was in it with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, I didn't see it, but Passengers.
Yeah, that movie where that was an example of a generational ship where they're like pretty much people are living on the ship or people are in a hibernated state where they're going to go to another planet or another part of the universe that would take years to travel, even traveling at light speed.
I mean, first of all, I believe the moon is a hologram because, if you remember correctly, Piccolo actually destroyed the moon.
That's true.
So then the Saiyans had to plant a hologram of the moon so that they could still change into giant apes, I believe.
It's just an energy
We'll
ball.
cover that later.
But, no, I mean, this is clearly pretty ridiculous. I love the theories like this that are like, the best type of conspiracy theories are ones that you'll never be able to prove or disprove no matter what. Like the fake moon landing... we would probably never prove or disprove either, but there are ways we could prove or disprove that. Or 9/11 being an inside job, we could prove or disprove that, but you can't with this.
The people that are backing up this theory are pretty much going as, no one said it wasn't hollow.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like, who's going to come out and dispute this?
If I'm remembering correctly from what I learned, wasn't it an asteroid that, like, broke or something, and that's how we got
it's
a
just
moon?
a part of the
Well,
Earth
that's
that-
how a lot of these theories start, because there's no real true supreme law on like what there's no how do I word this? There's no like
definitive proof.
Definitive proof of exactly how we got the moon or how the moon got to where it's at and like everything around the moon.
Yeah.
So all this little gray area, this is where these people are coming in with these conspiracy theories, trying to fill it because they can.
And no one will be able to. No one was around at that time, so no one will ever be able to prove the true origin of the moon. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's the other thing too, though. Is like there are other planets that also have moons.
Yeah,
like, aren't there
Saturn has,
planets
like,
that have?
8.
Yeah. So like, what about all those? Are those all hollow?
And you have to think all these different moons
Do they
are affecting
exist?
the planet that they're on in different ways.
I don't
When
know.
you're in these people's positions that are creating this, none of us are intelligent enough to understand how any of that works. So in order to buy into these people's ideas, you just have to accept the fact that all of the information that's been given to us has been a lie our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's their basis of fact when they start off with these theories.
Yeah.
So they're starting with a clean slate of they can come up with whatever they want because
Like physics? Nah.
I mean, I had my someone I know once try to convince me that gravity wasn't even a thing. This was someone who believed that the Earth was flat. So like they believe that everything we've ever been taught is an absolute lie. So it's hard to understand that logic and then go from there. Zach, what do you think overall of this compared to, in the grand scheme of conspiracy theories, where does this lie?
The very bottom of the trash. This is one of the most outrageous theories I've ever heard of. All the theories that I've heard with this. There's one theory that I'm not going to even talk about because of outrageous, where the moon is fake in a sense, but it was created by us in the future for us to have now. Which, who gave them the moon in the first place, or why do we need the moon from them?
Like, you can't even disprove it with logic because no one knows. Who the fuck knows? You could,
I've never been in the moon.
Yeah, you could drill into the moon
But
one
I
day and it's
really want to
hollow.
see the dark side. Let's see what's on that other
That's
side.
where the
of
largest
true.
crater is.
That's
where the ships go into.
Pretty sure
the
Megatron
craft.
was there once, right? I didn't see the Transformers.
Pretty sure there were
previously.
crab monsters.
Dude, that movie? Bad times.
The crabs.
Was that like Apollo 18? Or
Yeah, it's Apollo
15,
something.
17?
I think it was 18.
What will the Browns' record be this season?
4-12.
I'm going.
I'll count 4 and 12 as
Well,
a victory
first of
season.
all,
Yeah.
First of all, Isaiah's a Pittsburgh fan, so he shouldn't even have an opinion.
What do you mean? I'm saying they're going 2-14, both wins against the Steelers.
I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go 6 and 8.
Wow.
Well, wait, hold on.
That's 14 games.
They forfeit. Yes. They play.
We'll do 7.